Hi folks, how you doing? I want to talk about the star, Sothis, sometimes referred to as I see Sothis. So the star I see Sothis and the constellation Orion. Okay. Well, Orion is sort of like the celestial counterpart of the Kimite god Osiris, or the Greek god Osiris. Okay. So Orion, okay, is referred to as the wild hunter sometimes. The wild hunter. Oh, what does he hunt? You know? Well, Orion hunts demons. He has a bow and everything. He hunts demons. And the spawn of a Apopus. Apopus is that giant reptile in the underworld that devours the sunlight. Now, the sunlight is equivalent to the human will, okay? It thrives on sun, okay? Sunlight, okay? So Orion now in the underworld hunts and kills and devours the demons. Wow. So anyway, when Orion does this, he like doubles his strength. He devoured the demons. Their energy goes to Orion, so, you know, it doubles Orion's strength. He's a powerful constellation, or god now, okay? And so now that he has this strength, you know, remember he's down there in the underworld doing all this damage to the demons, he summons, okay, Sothis, the star. Who actually is like his wife, you know? And so because he has acquired all this extra power, well, and she comes to the underworld with him, he impregnates her. Okay? Now, Sothis, okay, will give birth to the solar child as a result of this impregnation. But this occurs at the summer solstice. Okay? And we have a conjunction here. We have Sothis, the mom who's going to give birth to the child. We have the sun in the sky, that rises on the horizon early this morning when things are going to take place. Okay? And we also have the constellation Leo. Leo the lion. Okay? And we also have a star called Regulus. Regulus, they say, is the kingmaker. So we have this conjunction here. You know what I mean? And so this conjunction actually occurred about 4,200 years ago. But anyway, the message still lives, you know. So at the morning, okay, of the summer solstice, okay, the solar child, delivered by Sothis, Icy Sothis, is born. Now, this happens to be actually New Year's Day, because at this time in the past, or at that time, New Year's Day was at the summer solstice, when this child was born. Okay? So now, we have the child born, and we have Sothis, okay, is at this time consecrated to the sign Scorpio, or the goddess of Scorpio called Circe, or Circuit. You see? Now, we see that the child enters, let's say, the underworld. He's born, okay, and the sign Leo. But the child, we know, enters the underworld. The child of the mother enters the underworld around, let's say, Libra, Scorpio, at the fall of the year, autumn. Okay? And when he enters the underworld in autumn, he's like, be attacked by the Apophis monster. But the goddess Circuit fights for this child. Other gods do too, such as the god Shu and his sister, Tefnut. Oh, they attack the monster. They fight with the monster to protect the sun god, this child that just entered the underworld. Oh, they say, well, this must have been the child of Sothis, okay, who goes around, who left the constellation Leo and goes to Virgo and then goes to Libra and then the underworld, where he's in trouble. Okay, but these goddesses come to his assistance. Okay, and this is probably why Sothis, the star that gave rise to this child, gave birth to this child, is consecrated to Scorpio, or there with Circuit, the goddess of Scorpio, to defend and fight for her child, the solar god who enters the underworld here, you see. Now we say, well, what does all this mean? What does this mean for the human being? Well, it turns out that this sun god, or the solar god, happens to be, okay, equivalent to the human will. Now, the human will thrives on sunlight. There's no doubt about that. It'll get you sunlight and strengthen the will within the human being. But we do know that at the fall of the year and the winter, that the human will becomes weaker. It is not as strong as it is in the summer, when the days are longer than in the fall and in the winter, you see. And so the will gets weakened in the fall of the year, and even at nighttime, year-round, because the sun is not out in the nighttime. And so the darkness, okay, the apex is there, the monster, you know. So now, as the will begins to gain strength some point along the way in the underworld, let's say at the winter solstice. Well, at the winter solstice, the sun, the child's pretty ragged and whatnot because he had a hard time coming, you know, through the underworld. He gets to the winter solstice, okay, and 3 days later, it is noticeable as the sun god crosses the solstice. And 3 days later, it is noticeable that daylight is getting a little longer. Just a little, not much. It is noticeable, though, that the change is taking place, as we know this, you know. So this means that the will begin to regain strength because it's getting more sunlight. Okay. So now we tried to show here how, okay, this astronomical mythology about Sothis and Orion, okay, and Ices and so forth, and Circuit and so forth and so on. How all this here, okay, can be reduced to for let's say, human use. We bring it down to the human level, is what I'm trying to say, where the mythology is telling the human, okay, that during the fall of the year and at night, that the human must make some effort in order to sustain the strength for the will. Oh, this is done through what you call spiritual exercises, yoga, or whatever. But this is what they're talking about. Trying to keep the will, the human will, strong, and keeping all debris out of the way of the will, because the will is very important to the human being, as we know that. Very important to the human being. And we need to keep its path open. And so we got to do these exercises so that the Apophis reptile won't devour our will, you know. Now, these monsters and demons, who are these demons that Orion was killing, the wild hunter Orion? Well, very, very simply put, anything that's causing difficulty in human life, emotional problems, which can result from such things as pride, prestige, feelings of self-importance, etc. Because these things, when a person uses them as a foundation in life, well, that foundation can be pulled from under the person by his peers and leave him just hanging and feeling bad. They hurt his feeling. But these emotions, we say that Orion, okay, he kills these things and he kills these passions. And when he does this, then he gets extra energy. The same thing with the human being. Human being going through emotional problems. When those emotional problems are resolved, that human feels stronger, more vibrant, more active, more energetic, and ready to go. This is the mythology. This is what the mythology is telling us about the human being. We got to keep the debris out of the way, out of our lives, like emotional problems and so forth, stress and all that sort of thing. Okay, folks, that's about it. Yes, I'm going to change my channel name to D. Gambrell, Ancient Egyptian Mythology. Not much difference, but I figured it would sort of specify really what I'm up to. This mythology, ancient Egyptian mythology, is what it's about. There are many different mythologies, so I said I would just stress that it's ancient Egyptian mythology that I'm talking about. Thank you very much, folks. Subscribe, and I'll get with you with some hopefully more interesting insights. Thank you very much, and have a good one. Bye-bye.